Hi, this is Lenica. Today I'm going to be showing you all 10 of my strategies for beating Shadeflicker in order to get credit towards the Family Fighter achievement. Shadeflicker is one of the pets on Macquarie, and he's found right here. As you can see, this is where I am on the map, and it's about coordinate 3654. It's not particularly challenging, but if you don't have a way to outspeed him, he can be very trolly with that 4-round cooldown dodge, phase shift, and then of course the 2-round cooldown Void Gate, swapping you out and interrupting your turn if he's faster. However, he only has 328 speed, so outspeeding him isn't typically the biggest challenge. It is just, of course, kind of a must in order to beat him. So some of these families have it particularly easy. None of them have it really too difficult. Humanoids can be a little challenging, but I developed a fun little strategy here. The first time I got my couple wins was with an Ore Eater instead of this Power Speed Crusher, but I found that was a little bit RNG dependent. You just don't quite have enough health to very dependably survive, and that Crusher just has a little bit more attack power, just enough oomph where you don't really depend on needing any crits or lucky demolishes. As you can see, this strategy is probably becoming pretty apparent to you with running that Turkey in your first slot. You have Flank, Lucky Dance, and Stampede. In your second slot, you're going to run Bite or Scratch, totally doesn't matter. Bark Skin is what I chose, just so I never use Frolic. And then Dazzling Dance, of course, is a must-have on this Speed Dandelion Frolicker. And then for our third slot, we have that Power Speed Crusher. Any Ore Eater or Crusher with, I believe, I don't know. It's just use a Power Speed breed. Let me calculate this real fast. So you need to be faster than 328, and you have a 25% speed buff. So Crusher speed, for example, is 273. You multiply that by 1.25. Sorry, what was it again? 273. 273 divided by, sorry. 273 times 1.25 puts him at 341 speed. So he's faster than the 328 required. I guess the way you would do it is you would just take 328 and divide it by 1.25. Pretty sure that's what you do. You get 262. So basically any Ore Eater or Crusher with at least 262 speed. So basically if it's Crusher, it's got to be Power Speed breed. If it's an Ore Eater, it can be Balance. It can be any breed. Actually, a Power Ore Eater would probably have a slight advantage. Yeah, a Power Ore Eater would have that slight advantage over the Power Speed Crusher, but the Power Speed Crusher will do just fine. You'll see my strategy here doesn't really depend on having too much health, but having more is always nice. So here's how the strategy works. We're going to go ahead and challenge him, and for the first round, it doesn't matter what you do. You can press any button except forfeit, and next we're going to be swapped into our Crusher if you have a Crusher, or our Dandelion Frolicker if you have an Ore Eater. The reason for that is Crusher has more health than the Dandelion Frolicker. But it doesn't matter. He's going to dodge right here, so it 100% doesn't matter what we do during these 2 turns. Or at least as far as trying to attack him. Of course it matters what we do, or we just AFK. So we're going to be swapping right now into the Dandelion Frolicker while he's throwing up dodge. Since we can't hit him anyways, may as well set up the way we want to. We're going to go ahead and dodge here. I'm sorry, not dodge. He's going to be dodging, and we're going to Dazzling Dance. Not explaining this well, but I think you can follow my steps and figure out what you're doing. So next up, we're going to go ahead and hit him with a Bite. It's not very much damage, but, you know, it's not worth it to throw up Dazzling Dance again. You just don't need to. So we'll go ahead and take out a little bit of chunk of his health. Next up, we're going to go ahead and Shell Armor right off the bat. He's going to hit us with an attack. We kind of don't want him to hit to crit us, but we're probably fine if he does. If you wanted on that last turn, by the way, you could have gone for a Lucky Demolish, but you know you just don't need to. It's safe to go for 2 acid touches in a row. Next up, we're going to have Turkey. He's going to have 341 speed because of that Dazzling Dance, so he's going to outspeed that Shadeflicker just enough. I'm going to go ahead, hit him with a flank before he uses his phase shift. Getting that triple's nice, but not at all mandatory. Going to go ahead and throw up that Lucky Dance here, and then right before we get swapped out, we're going to go for a Stampede. The Void Gate might kill us, it might not, it totally doesn't matter. But what does matter is that we need to be swapped into our Crusher. Ideally, we want our Crusher to be higher health than our Dandelion Frolicker, but that's pretty much what you should always be seeing. So, next up, we're going to go ahead and go for a Demolish. It has a 100% hit chance, and it's going to do 100% extra damage, so it's going to hit hard. It might even activate his boss racial. It's going to go ahead and kill us, but that's fine, because all we have to do, we have 2 rounds remaining on that Dazzling Dance. All we have to do is bring in our Dandelion Frolicker and use that basic attack while Shatter Defenses is still active, and it should do about 420 damage. Down he goes. So that's my first strategy. Like I said, it works with an Ore Eater, but I found it a little bit RNG dependent. You kind of needed to get a crit or 2 because that speed Ore Eater just doesn't quite have enough oomph to really quite get the job done. So next up are dragons. Dragons are pretty fun. The Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling is going to be our first pet. Next up we have the Azure Whelpling in the second slot, running Breath, Wild Magic, and Surge of Power, but these are the only 2 abilities that matter. And then the Stormborn Whelpling is there to provide the Lightning. So this is going to be another kind of awkward one where we don't really have anything to do for the first 3 turns. So we're going to be able to outspeed him with our Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling as long as he has that speed breed. So before he swaps us out, we're going to go ahead and get that dot on him. If he crits you, you probably need to go ahead and forfeit. But at this point, we're in our Azure Whelpling. He's going to dodge, so we can't hit him with Wild Magic anyway. So what we're going to do is bring in our Stormborn Whelpling immediately. And he's about to swap us out, so we're going to actually go for Call Lightning even while dodge is up. That way, it will cause that Flame Breath damage to be ticking. With Lightnings, we're going to go ahead and pass since he's going to interrupt us, and our Stormborn Whelpling has totally done his job. Next up we have that Azure Whelpling. Just hope that he doesn't get crit twice, he'll be fine. I'm going to go ahead and throw up a Wild Magic, and then we're going to go right into a Surge of Power. Surge of Power should deal some great damage, and then he should hit us with a Void Gate. Crit totally doesn't matter, but obviously that was super nice. I'll probably go ahead and redo the fight just so that y'all can see what should be happening even without that lucky RNG crit. Alrighty, so we have our Beast Rachel active, but he has dodge up. We can't really hit him and we don't want to risk anything, so we're going to go ahead and take that claw on our Stormborn Whelpling. I was lying when I said he'd already done his job. That is his job. Now we have that Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling, and this is a fixed amount of damage, so provided it doesn't crit, even with that Beast Racial, it will not kill us. So we're going to go ahead and proc our Racial with a Quick Quills, and then kill him with a Conflagrate. Well, since we've got so many crits, we're going to be just fine. He's actually going to die to that Flame Breath. But I'll go ahead and rinse and repeat, to show you that one fight one more time so you know that that Surge of Power crit wasn't important. Actually, it might have just been Lightning. I just saw a crit, and I didn't want that big cooldown to be kind of the deciding factor. I don't want y'all to think that this is just an RNG fight, because of course, yes, all of these are RNG, but crits are, these are designed without crits in mind, either way. You can't really predict crits, so. We're going to, of course, swap into the Azure Whelpling and to the Stormborn Whelpling. Don't listen to me, just do as I do. And we're going to go ahead, throw up that Call Lightning. Okie dokie, he's going to hit us with that Void Gate, so we can go for a Thunderbolt or pass, it doesn't matter. Going to go ahead and be swapped into that Azure Whelpling. Go ahead and throw up a Wild Magic, take that Claw to the face, and then hit him with the Surge of Power. Hopefully this time it doesn't crit so that I can demonstrate how this is supposed to work. There we go, does some nice solid damage. We're going to go ahead and die and be swapped into our Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling. Should be able to throw up a Flame Breath before he throws up his dodge. As you can see, without that crit, it is a bit closer. This is very kind of tightly tuned, but it's really not too bad. Of course, we're going to take that Claw on the Stormborn Whelpling just to guarantee that he doesn't get a super high-end hit, because a super high-end hit will kill us, especially a crit like that. That's not something we want to be taking on our Silver Dragonhawk Hatchling, or it is GG, thank you for playing. Now, at this point, we're going to go ahead and go for a Quills. It's going to do some solid damage and proc our Racial, and then, of course, we'll be able to conflagrate for that kill shot. While that burn is still applied, it will do double damage, so we have more than enough damage throughput here. No crits required on either side, but if he gets some crits, you'll probably have to restart it. Most of his crits will kill your pet too early. Next up is going to be Birds. Birds is quite fun. I really do enjoy this strategy a lot. I'm going to go ahead and throw out that Call Lightning right off the bat. We're going to be trading strong damage for strong damage. But Stormwing's in his job at this point. We're going to go ahead and bring in our Mechanical Axe Beak. We're going to go for a decoy, as tempting as it might be to go for damage before the phase shift is going up. We don't care about that kind of damage. We just want to bring in our Icky and squash him down with a Black Claw. Flock, it's really quite fun to watch with Lightning Storm up. Flock's going to go out, provided he doesn't get a ridiculous crit somehow here with that Claw on our Icky. He's just going to die on the next turn. And down he goes. Even if we had gotten a lucky crit and killed us, we probably would have just one-shot him with a Haywire. So it's a very solid strat. I like that one a lot. Next up are Undeads. Undeads are a lot of fun. There's probably some slightly better strategies, but this is the one that worked best for me, as I'm using that Speed Wicked Soul, a Blighted Squirrel HP, and Infected Squirrel. I'm actually using a PB breed, but you probably want HP of both of them. They either can work just fine. All breeds will really work just fine for this strategy, because it's really about just kind of buffing your dots, and you have more than enough damage to take him down. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our Blighted Squirrel first. He's going to phase shift, so we're just going to go ahead and Adrenaline Rush while he's doing that. Nothing better to do. And then buff our speed. Then we're going to go ahead and go for that Wood Chipper. Now that his cooldowns are gone, we can go ahead and apply both debuffs with our infected squirrel, infected squirrel. All these different kinds of rabid squirrels. Alrighty, so there's Rabies. He's probably going to one-shot us here, but it's fine if he does. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go for a Stampede. We did actually survive. Doesn't matter if he did activate our Racial or not. We're just going to get interrupted here. But we have that bleed ticking with those Shattered Defenses and Rabies debuffs. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Shadow Shock here. That hits extra hard. He'll probably just die to a bleed. If he doesn't, it really doesn't matter. We'll just go for a heal, because why not? And then, of course, just kill him with one more Shadow Shock. Oh, that crit hurt real bad. But, of course, he will go down. Alrighty. Up next, we're going to have Critters. Critters took me a second, but most likely 3 rabbits will do just fine. And this is the team that I found kind of took him down the fastest. I'm using a Speed Squirrel, a Speed Dust Bunny. Really, any rabbit will work just fine, though. And then a Speed Tricorn with Poison Fang, Stampede, and Comeback, but Comeback doesn't matter. So, first up, he's going to use that Interrupt, but we're going to go first and apply Wood Chipper, get that dot rolling on him. It's going to bring in our rabbit since he gets higher health than Tricorn. So, we're going to go ahead and go for a Flurry before... Oh, I messed up. Ignore me. I was supposed to go for a dodge. I was thinking PvP. Gotta think in PvE right now. Alrighty. One more time. Gonna go for that Wood Chipper. This time when he swaps us into our Dust Bunny, we're actually going to go for a dodge. That's all about avoiding his claws. Those claws can just hit for too much variety of damage against critters. So you really just want to go for avoidance as much as possible so that you don't have to deal with RNG. You want to kind of just let him hit you with those void gates and then avoid the claws. So we're going to take that void gate damage, but we've done our job. We got Stampede out, and the bleed is up. While that Shattered Defenses is up, we are going to go ahead and go for Poison Fang. There's really nothing we can do to avoid that claw, but that's fine. Unless it super crits, we're going to be just fine. And now we're going to go for another Stampede. We might die here, but we probably shouldn't. Even if, whether we do or not, it doesn't matter. He's either going to swap us into our squirrel, or we're going to choose. And most of the time we are going to be dead there. So we'll go ahead and choose our squirrel. We will, of course, throw up a bleed. He's going to swap us right out, but now he has 2 debuffs, 3 debuffs actually, but 2 with Shattered Defenses. So he's going to be taking lots of damage from that. While that Shattered Defenses is up, we will, of course, go for a Flurry this time. And he should just die to dots. If he didn't, we would of course go for dodge, and it's pretty straightforward at that point. Alrighty, next up we have Magics, and I came up with this strategy after trying out some Explode and Life Exchange and Sunny Day, and long story short, there are some other strategies that worked for me. My first time that I beat it, I ended up using an Ethereal Soul Trader and just Life Exchange, and getting to about half health. Then I brought in one of the lamps with sunlight. Basically, it's Illuminate. Then I just manually swapped into my Minfernal and exploded, and it killed him. But I found that if he got 2 high-hitting claws in a row, it just could kill me, and my magic ratio was worthless because Sunny Day was the weather. So I found this strategy to be a bit more fun. Unless Scorched Earth crits me, he can't beat me. And it's just such a fun team. I had a blast coming up with this strategy. So first turn, you're just going to go ahead and pass. In your first slot, you want that Speed Balance Enchanted Pin. There's only 1 breed, so you don't have to worry. Actually, all 3 of these pets have... Oh, never mind. You want the Power Sanctum Cub, of course. But my guess is any breed will work. It's just Power is definitely going to give you that decided advantage over the others. We're going to have the Abyssius in the second slot, and we're actually running Immolation and Scorched Earth. You can probably start to see the synergy of this team. So we got swapped out into our Abyssius. He's just going to dodge, so you've seen this before. Actually, no, I was just kidding. We're not going to swap. Gotcha. We're going to go ahead and go for a Scorched Earth in the first round here. Immolation and then a Scorched Earth is probably just fine, but I kind of like going for Scorched Earth first because 9 rounds from now, I don't want that Scorched Earth to be the weather in case it crits me. So, we're going to go ahead and pass or hit our Immolation. Doesn't matter. So, we're going to be swapped out. It's going to bring in our Sanctum Cub now, and we're going to go ahead, go for a Black Claw first, then go for a Leap, and then go for a Pounce. Getting crit with a Claw doesn't matter. The only crits that matter are Scorched Earth because of our magic ratio. Our magic ratio saves us from all crits except that Scorched Earth, and it is a very double-edged sword. It's a bit risky to be running this strat, but it does work as long as Scorched Earth doesn't crit you in a really bad time. So we're going to go ahead and go for that Pounce. It's going to swap us into our Enchanted Pen. At this point, there's a bit of downtime because we don't yet have a debuff on him to slow him, so he's going to be able to get that phase shift off. We'll go ahead and go for a Foreboding Curse, but of course he is going to dodge it. Now that he has his dodge up, we are going to go for our Evanescence. As long as Scorched Thirst doesn't crit us here, we are going to be just fine. We're going to go ahead and go for a Foreboding Curse. Even if it does crit us, we might be fine. But you're going to have to kind of depend on a high-hitting Meteor Strike, because right now we would be dead from the next hit of Scorched Earth, so. Going to be able to get out that Quills, and at this point, we're going to go ahead, go up in the air, and most likely he'll just die to Immolation because of that Foreboding Curse. If he doesn't, we will just kill him with a Meteor Strike, and it's just such a satisfying victory. It's really, really fun. It looks a lot closer than it really is. The only thing you have to worry about is Scorched Earth critting you. But if that's not working for you, just try an Ethereal Soul Trader, a Magic Lamp, or whatever the one that has, the Enchanted Lantern, and then a Minfernal, highest health breed possible. So HH will be your best bet. Next up we have Elementals, and yes, this team is back. We're actually running the stun just for fun, really. It's just kind of messing with him. Since he's not a critter, we can't, of course, do that. And this team is just so much fun. I can't even tell you. It's great. So we're gonna go ahead, go for a jab. It doesn't matter. We can pass. We can don't acid rain. Just go for a jab. And then we're gonna go ahead, go for a blistering cold. He's gonna dodge the first application, but he can't do anything after that. We're gonna go ahead and pass here. He's gonna swap us into our ominous flame, and it's gonna be very similar to before. We're gonna go ahead and go for a foreboding curse, then a scorched earth, and then of course foreboding curse again if we're still alive. He actually got a lucky crit against me the first time I fought him, and I wasn't able to get out the second foreboding curse. But this guy's nowhere near as difficult to beat, so you totally don't even need the second foreboding curse. But we are, of course, going to reapply it here, since we are able to, and then we are going to bring in our Elemental. We don't want him to be able to dodge, so we're going to go ahead and stun him right away. Then we're going to hit him with Call Lightning. There's a Call Lightning for him. All those dots are going to be taking lightning ticks, and it's going to be awesome damage. He might actually just die here if we get some lucky crits, and if he doesn't, of course, we have our Wild Winds to finish him off. He's going to try to swap us out, but he's just dead. And he has Foreboding Curse, so we are still faster than him and all three of our pets, since he has a very pathetic 246 speed right now. Poor guy. Next up we have our beasts, using a Speed Rose Typin, Speed Zandalari Ankle Render, and Speed Zandalari Toe Nibbler. There's so many strats that'll work with this, it really doesn't matter. But this one's very, very efficient, very quick. We're going to go ahead and go for a Poison Fang right off the bat. Don't even worry about the swap. No need to blind it. We want to go ahead and get that, that dot rolling. Crit doesn't matter at all. We're going to go ahead and go for a Black Claw. We're going to go ahead and swap during his phase shift back into that Rose Typin. It's okay if he crits us, it really doesn't matter. We're just going to be going for a Puncture Wound. He totally did crit us again. That poor snake is not having the best luck in the world today. We're going to go ahead and go for our Zandalari Ankle Render, bring in that Hunting Party, and then finish off with a flank. He should totally die to a flank. With Shadow Defenses and Black Claw up, he's as good as dead. Boom, 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 down he goes. And that, by the way, if he hadn't gotten the double crit on my snake, what I would have done when I swapped in is I would have Puncture Wound and then been either killed or swapped back into the Ankle Render, actually, as a matter of fact, is who's going to be swapped back in because he hadn't taken any damage. So, yeah, he would have been swapped back into the Ankle Render like I was. Next up, we have Aquatics, and this is it feels good. It feels great. This is the first Aquatic team I have felt happy about my strategy in a long time. It's been miserable having to depend on RNG and just luck and having two Gulp Froglets, and one of them has to be this breed, and you can't let him win that coin toss, and if you get an unlucky crit here or there or there or there or there, you lose. Oh, this strategy is so solid. Crits will screw you over, but I love it. It feels so great. So, going to be running that Speed Mongoose. If you want to really min-max your chances, I would recommend probably a Power Speed Mongoose, or maybe Mongoose Pup. Speed Balance, I believe, or Power Speed. Yeah, Mongoose Pup. Power Speed is going to be the absolute... Ooh, I was incorrect. Mongoose... Power. How much is that Mongoose Pup speed? Or attack power? Yeah, that power speed on the Mongoose, just like I said before, is probably going to be your best bet. But Speed Mongoose, Power Speed Mongoose, Cute Mongoose will not work. You just have to be over 328 speed. Any Mongoose or Civet that has over 328 speed will work. But there are no Civets that have higher speed than that, so ignore that. So we're going to go first because we have that nice juicy 374 speed. Go for a Screech. Gonna bring in our Gulp Froglet. You've seen it before. We don't want our Gulp Froglet in. Doesn't matter what breed he is going to be higher health than that Hydraling. This is the lowest health breed actually to balance. So this will show you what you want to do is you want to go ahead and manually swap into that Hydraling while he's throwing up his dodge. Since you can't hit him anyway, well, you could hit him. You don't want to. So we're going to go ahead and go for a Whirlpool while that dodge is up, and then a Call Lightning. Oh yes, it is fantastic, this setup. I love it. Whirlpool is out, Call Lightning is out. He's going to swap us into our Gulp Froglet. Thank you, very helpful sir. And now that Whirlpool and Lightning are up, it's going to be a great time for our Gulp Froglet to go for a Swarm. That Whirlpool is going to hit for uber damage, and I wanted to say he actually got a lucky crit and killed my Gulp Froglet early, but I was still able to beat him with my Mongoose because he just does so well. But most of the time you should be, with all breeds of the Gulp Froglet, you should be able to get out that double round of Swarm before he kills you with Void Gate and swaps in your Mongoose. And now that he has Shatter Defenses up with Lightning out, as you can probably imagine, he is just as good as dead. One Gnaw will do the trick. You could actually totally run by it, doesn't matter. Alrighty, and next up, we're going to be bringing in Mechanicals. Mechanicals are so easy, I didn't even save my team, so shame on me. My team that I ran at first was a Cogblade Raptor, Speed, Little Bling, and then, of course, Samus, the Sunreaver Micro Sentry, running Felt Immolate, doesn't matter, and Call Lightning. Here we go, and yes, this is what I want to do. So we're going to go ahead and put that Sunreaver Micro Sentry in the second slot, and Little Bling in the third slot. Since they are equal health, that will mean that the Sunreaver Micro Sentry will be swapped in first. So I'm going to start with our Cogblade Raptor. Go ahead and go for a Screech. That will allow all of our pets to actually outspeed this. Even that powered Sunreaver Micro Sentry with 260 speed is faster, so it's really a great time to throw up a Felt Immolate. We're going to go ahead and pass at this point because we can't hit that beast. We'll go ahead and go for Call Lightning at this point. And this helpful little fellow is going to swap us right into our Little Bling just so that we can throw up these debuffs on him. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and make it rain, and then Inflation. That speed buff is gone, but it was very nice while it lasted. We don't need to worry about it though. We'll be able to get out one round of Inflation, and that is more than enough. Most of the time he will just die to dots from that Make It Rain with Shatter Defenses up. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that Inflation. Normally we will be dying here, or at least be swapped out, but it's totally fine. I'm going to go ahead and be swapped right into our Cogblade Raptor. Because I am a Shadow Priest, I like to see things melt to dots. Oh, he dodged it. How sneaky. How sneaky. He's not going to die to dots. That's okay. Your doom is inevitable, Shadeflicker. There's probably 500 different combos that'll work with Mechanicals. Mechanicals are super easy, but the Cogblade Raptor is really great. Honestly, 3 Cogblade Raptors will totally solo this guy, 100%. The breed kind of matters, I guess. You want to have the speed breed, or else you're not going to outspeed him. But this combo does just fine even without the speed buff, and the speed buff makes it super easy to really just get out that extra bit of damage. So yeah, there it is. Those are all 10 of my teams. If there are any of these teams that you need help with, like you don't have some of the pets and you're really struggling to find a strategy that works, just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to help you with whatever pets you have available. But as always, be sure to check out Zufu's guides. He has great content that's really supported by the community, so lots of different options available on his website, and I'll leave a link to that in the description as always, just so that you have as many chances and options available to you to get this challenge done. So best of luck, and I will see you all in the next video.